It got back to that the same point and froze up again. I don't know why it's doing that. Okay, it's showing. We're good.
All right. Well, good morning, everyone.
Good
Call the our monthly meeting of the Talbot County Board of Tax Assessors to order. And let's see, leaves right at 10 a.m. The first item is to approve the agenda. Has everyone had a chance to look over the agenda for this morning? Do you see any?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, if there's no additions or corrections, do we have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
I move that we approve the agenda as presented.
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all right, the motion passes. Moving on to old business. The first item is an update on the personal property audit. I'm sorry, I skipped approval of minutes. Let's back up. Next item is approve the minutes from the February 17th meeting. Let's see, Lauren had those in our packet. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
I move that we approve the February 17th minutes as presented.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. All right, now we move on to the old business and the update on personal property audits.
Y'all see in page 5 of your packet, I made a note about this. At the beginning of February, 2 appraisers from the consultants resigned, and they have hired somebody else, and they have started on the audits, but we were on pause for the month of February, so we don't have any audits to approve. And Mr. Dean advised us to hold the monthly payments until the time that work's being caught up and received. So I have got the check, and as soon as we get the next batch of audits, I will put it in the mail. Y'all have any questions about that?
I don't.
No.
Okay, do they have an anticipated completion date, or did it change?
He has not said if they are planning on still like being completed at the end of June like they had anticipated. I'm hoping that once everything gets rolling, they'll get caught up and we'll be back on track, but I'm not positive yet.
Okay, how does it work on the for the county? I'm thinking of the fiscal year end June 30th.
So the plan right now is that Jonah is going to keep writing the checks, and I'm going to have them here in the office. So we'll have the money removed from our budget and ready to mail. I'll have it ready to mail as soon as the work's back on track and completed. So she's still writing the checks. I'm just not mailing them at this point. So the money will be coming out of our budget and running just like normal. It's not going to change any budgetary. Because the contract's due to be paid out at the end of this fiscal year.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I was thinking about. I guess maybe that's another topic for the budget for next year, whether to put any kind of contingency in it.
No, sir, I mean,
Okay, all right. Well,
we'll have the funds, they'll have come out of this budget, and all the money will be paid for the contract. I just have to mail the checks once they're done. So there won't be any.
well, I mean, I just,
It wasn't a price, it wasn't a price per month contract. It was a contract for X amount for this work being done. We've just been paying it by the month.
right. Well, I understand that. And of course, if they ramp up, that may work, but I'm just concerned. We'll have to see how things go moving forward. So.
The auditors will adjust any checks that are outstanding, and that it will be included if the checks are written and they're not mailed or cashed in prior to the fiscal year end. The auditors will adjust accordingly, so they'll still come out of that budget.
Is that Sandra? Is that sort of a standard way the counties work? I mean, that's just sounds a little unusual.
That's a standard accounting practice, yes.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for the update, Lauren. And say they have hired 2 new staff. Have they been in the? Have they gotten back on the audit? I mean, have they been to?
It's my understanding that they've been in the county this entire week, and a lot of it was just going through paperwork, and that they spent a good bit of the beginning of the month and the end of February trying to get things organized for the new workers, because it was just kind of like they both just stopped at the same time and there was no notice or anything. So there was a lot of organization, that sort of thing, for the month of February.
Okay. Do you know how many staff does M&W have total?
Well, they had,
I'm talking about company-wide.
5, but there were only 3 people that worked the personal property, and the 2 people that were working on our contract both quit at the same time. So that left the one personal property person, and he had to go through all of our accounts, reorganize everything, and then hire some more people.
And I'm saying the one that was left was the lead. That was Al.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Lauren,
Does anybody else have any questions?
I was wondering if they got upset or they found a better position.
I wasn't privy to that. I'm not sure. I didn't ask any questions about, I mean, it wasn't anything about that we had done from Talbot.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's move on then. And the next item is the schedule updates.
Yes, sir. Everything's in place as far as that goes, and we're in concern with the schedule updates. We're ready to move forward with the assessment notices.
Okay. If let me ask a question then. If is the new information on the gap, if you go in and pull up your property, do you see the new values yet?
In WinGap you do, but that's not live data. It won't be posted on QPublic until the time in which the assessment notices go out, because it's not finalized. We're still measuring new properties and that sort of thing, and we can't have part of the values out and part of them not.
Right. Well, that's what I was curious about. So it's not posted until the, to the NOAs go out.
Yes, sir. And then at that point, it'll still just say that the values are, not temporary is not the word that I'm looking for, but tentative, because
final.
any appeals or anything, it won't be final yet.
Mhm. Okay.
It's
And
not,
is everything on track for the notices
yes,
to
sir.
go out in early May?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And we may be, just according to how the weather holds up, we've got about 20 to 25 more permits to visit. So if we're able to hold a meeting at the beginning, the first week or so of April, to approve any covenants and homestead applications, then we may be ready before the beginning of May to send the assessment notices. But I'm not, we've just got to see how the field work goes.
Okay, but sounds like y'all are on track then. Okay.
Yes, sir. I don't foresee
Okay,
any
great.
delays.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions on Lauren's status update?
No.
All right, if not, we'll move on to new business. And then let's see, the first item is error and releases.
Yes, sir. That's page 7 of your packet. The first one was when a parcel was subdivided for a deed. It was, this one particular parcel was split into like 7 subparcels, and the house was put on the wrong subparcel, and so they did not notify us of that when the assessment notices went out, and they did not notify us when the tax bills went out. But I guess when they got a late notice, they brought it to our attention that the house was on the wrong parcel, so we had to remove the improvement and the garbage fee and adjust the value so that it was land only. That's the first one. And the second one was a pre-built mobile home that was put on the property in October of 2020. And generally, the tax commissioner's office, anytime that a new mobile home title is transferred, they give us a copy of it so we can add it to the digest. And then we are supposed to get a copy of the permits also. That permit was missed. They did not send us a copy of the permit, and then the tax commissioner's office did not send us a copy of the title. And so we've only just received that information, and once we received it, we sent an error and release for a not on digest so that they could send a bill out. And those are the only 2 ENRs we have this month.
On the first parcel, it talks about it being a subdivided.
Yes, sir.
Is the other part, it says remain with parcel 62790802. Was that one correct, or did there need to be an error release on both parcels?
Well, we can't raise the value. If there's a mistake on our part, we have to credit in the taxpayer's favor, but we can't adjust a final assessment and raise a value on the parcel that didn't get the house on it.
Okay, so it gets caught up this coming year then?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So it sounds like you're recommending approval of the error and releases as presented.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's see, we've got a recommendation from Laura. Do we have a motion to approve the error and releases as presented?
I move that we approve the error and release.
Second.
All right. Is there any further discussion on the Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all right, motion passes. All right, and then let's see, your next item is fiscal year, the budget update.
Yes, sir. That starts on page 9. And this is just through the end of January. There was nothing that really caught my attention. I did have one question under the dues and subscriptions for that Woolpert Inc., but the county commissioner's office informed me that CamaCloud, that's our mobile assessor, was bought out by this company, or there was a merger, and so that's just who they wrote the check to. Otherwise, everything else seems perfectly in line.
Lauren,
Yes, ma'am.
the Q Public, it's got an overage. Will we need to address that in the budget to increase the line item?
Yes, ma'am. I've already got that done. That's where we
Okay.
added the assessment notices to be able to be viewed online, and it changed our
Okay.
yearly subscription. And so we had already accounted with the county commissioner's office and gotten approval to move funds to cover that.
Right.
And I have adjusted it on the upcoming budget as well.
Okay.
Okay. All right, I said, any other questions on the budget update? If not, we'll move on to the Q Public add-on for the appeal and homestead module. Lauren, you want to walk us through that?
Yes, sir. Have y'all had a chance to look at those 2 links that I sent you, or were you wanting me to play them for the meeting? How did you want to proceed there?
Is it something you can do in about 5 minutes?
Well, let me just give a summary first, and then if we need to watch the video to answer questions, we can.
Okay.
So we discussed the appeal module on Q Public last year, and we decided not to add that feature because, for one, we did not follow through with the schedule updates. And so since we didn't anticipate having a lot of appeals last year, we didn't add this feature to the website. This year, with the schedule updates and the pandemic still being ongoing, I feel that it would be a good feature to add to the website. I feel like it would reduce the concerns for people. It would reduce one-on-one contact, and it also, if you watch the tutorial, it gives the website steps people through the appeal process and explains the process to them in their homes where they have more time to take it in. And as they go through the appeal module, they are allowed to, or they have to search for comparables to see where we got our value and find comparable sales for their appeal for their property. And so a lot of times people then, once they have gone through that part of the process, realize that the reason that we have adjusted the values, and they're more satisfied once they see those sales that are comparable to their property. So I think that will help with public understanding of the appeals process, and also give them a way to appeal from their home without, having to worry about the virus and the ongoing pandemic and coming into the office. And secondly, that homestead module, it allows people to complete their homestead exemption online. It has an upload option so that they can upload their driver's license and any other information that needs to be transmitted securely to our office for the approval of their application. And the counties that I have spoken with that are using these two modules are very happy with them. So I think that it would be a very good thing for Talbot County to move forward on through the Q Public website. Y'all have,
Okay.
has everybody watched the video or not?
Yes.
Why don't you pull that up quickly, Lauren?
Okay. Give me just a second. Okay.
Hey, Rockdale County, we have some exciting news for you if you own a property or a home right here. Have you ever tried to get the homestead exemption? The homestead exemption is like a discount that you get on your property taxes. Well, in the past, it used to be a long ordeal, making you have to go in person to the office. Well, all that has changed now. Take a look.
Welcome to Rockdale County's online homestead exemption form. We're excited to share with you that you now have the ability to fill out your homestead exemption application online. Before you begin, please have the required documents ready. Either a state ID or driver's license and recorded deed and utility bill, or vehicle registration and voter's registration. To get started, search by owner name. Once the property record is selected, click on Apply for Homestead Exemption. This will pre-populate the information from this record into Section B of the application. There are three main sections to the application: Section A, Section B, and Section C1/C2 and the required documents. Section A is applicant and spouse information. Fill out all information needed. Section B is property information. If you came to the application via the land record first, some of the information will already be pre-populated for you. Fill out all information needed. Section C1 determines eligibility for new income requirements. Fill out all information needed. Section C2 determines eligibility for federal adjusted gross income requirements. Fill out all information needed. Upload all required documents as listed. Sign the affidavit. Check the box agreeing to terms and conditions and submit. Go to your parcel to get started today.
Please help us spread this news. Take this video, share it on Facebook, email it to a friend, or text it to your mom. We want as many residents to not only be eligible for the discount, but to be familiar with the process. Again, your homestead exemption will now be online thanks to Rockdale County and the Board of Assessors.
Okay, so that is the homestead. And we would be able to do a video similar to that for Talbot County as well. Y'all have any questions particularly about the homestead module?
None.
Cost.
So I attached a copy of the contract for, and the one that I attached, it starts on page 12 of your packet. And it will be another add-on to our Q Public. And this particular agreement is for the appeals module as well as the homestead module. And there's a one-time setup cost for both things. And then there is the annual hosting for both things. It's on page 15. The one-time setup cost is $3,240, and then the annual hosting is $4,500, and that's for the appeals module as well as the homestead exemption module. And so they have prorated, and then, so on section B, you'll see the payment schedule. And between May and June 30th of 2021, we would have to pay the $39.90. And then during the next fiscal year, we would pay the $4,500. And we have money in our budget to do that. We would have to move some funds around, but we have additional funds remaining in our travel and education budget because we have not had to go and stay at hotels since we've been doing the virtual training. So we have more than enough money in our current budget to cover the setup and the prorated hosting fee. And honestly, go ahead.
Well, let's say I was thinking you couldn't move money from personal services to the other side. I was thinking.
No, we're not wanting to take money
move.
out. The salaries budget and the accounts budget are completely separate, but I'm not wanting to move money from salaries over to the accounts or from the accounts over to salaries. I'm wanting to move.
Oh, you're talking about travel. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Okay,
she stayed within expenses.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
I'm
that's
just wanting to
something
move
you
money
can't.
between accounts within the expenses portion of the budget.
Okay. And I see where you got pulled up the Whitfield County BOA. I take it right now you've got their homepage pulled up.
No, that's their appeals. There's the online appeals tutorial. It's a 4-minute tutorial on the online appeals. We just launched the homestead for Rockdale.
All right, but go back to the homepage a minute. Does it look like ours in the Q Public?
No, every homepage is different. That's their homepage. But with that being said, to change the homepage like this, we would have to pay for a web service, and that would be a whole different ball of wax. So I mean, aren't we?
Well, I'm not trying to. What I have noticed is a lot of the counties look very similar to ours. I guess it's the Q Public framework. And I see at the top there, you've got the appeals and exemptions is like tabs at the top. And so that's what would be added to ours.
Hold on just a second.
Something similar.
Yeah.
Well, so, I typed it wrong. So yes, up here there would be appeals button, and then you would also be able to, once you got to your record, if you did search records, you would be able to click appeal from there. And then there would be a homestead exemption tab at the top as well.
Okay. And so back to the Whitfield County, when you clicked on appeals, the first thing that popped up was the link to the video, the tutorial.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so that's something in addition to if we buy the Cadillac features from Q Public or from Snyder Geospatial Q Public, then you and your staff, is the tutorial something y'all can do in-house?
Yes,
I mean, I take it Talbot County, we don't have a communications department.
No, we can do the tutorial in-house. I'm familiar with that.
Okay, great. So you envision doing something similar to what you've seen online with these other counties then?
Yes, sir.
All right. And then these new, I was going to say these new processes, they're simply in addition to folks that are used to the old way of just going in and visiting and filling out paperwork and handing it to you.
Right, and yes, sir, and that's what I was going to say is that a lot of times during a reevaluation year, we have lines out the door, people standing and waiting to see us. And, you know, and there are just 3 of us here in the office. And so we've got to have somebody answering the phone, somebody talking to customers. And with the restraints from the ongoing pandemic, we are, you know, restricted to how many people we can have standing in the office, how many people we can have waiting, face-to-face contact, those sort of things. And so we have got it opened up. We've got a plan. We've got the service window, and then the office when you come in, that's not where you buy your tags, but that other office that they have there, we have gotten that set up. So we'll have places to help 2 customers at a time. But I feel like that this will alleviate a lot of the waiting and then the anxiety that people will have about coming in. I don't want anybody to not be able to appeal if they feel that they have a need to appeal just because they are concerned about coming into the office because of the current pandemic, that sort of thing. So I feel like this will it will free up our office staff to help people that do want to come in, but it'll also give other people that aren't comfortable coming in an option to get their appeal done online.
Okay. And let me go back to our homepage a minute. If you got that. Okay. And so just pull up maybe like general information or contact or whatever. Who maintains? Don't you have to contact somebody?
Not for this, no, sir. I can make the changes from the administration panel on this website, but as far as that TalbotCountyGeorgia.org or whatever it is that the county commissioners maintain, someone does have to be contacted to make those changes.
Okay. So I knew there was like an outside vendor, but I couldn't recall. So you actually manage our homepage and can update that. And I guess it goes in Minds, the data from, I guess, WinGap or another database.
Yes, sir. Every night there's an upload that takes place to upload the data. Yes, sir. A transfer.
Okay. All right, so back, let's see, did anybody else have anything on the while Lauren's got the internet there pulled up, anything else they want to demonstrate or questions about how the actual features would work? If not, we'll sort of move on to the business side of it then. Lauren, you were going over the agreement. Proposed agreement starts at page 12, and then sharing with us how it impacts the budget. But you're recommending that we do proceed, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And we'd have the one-time cost of $3,990 as a setup fee, and then the annual hosting is $4,500. And does this contract, this locks it in for, or is that just 1 year?
Yes, sir. It's 1 year.
So I take it then each year they would give you a figure that the 45 could go up after June of 2022, just with inflation or whatever.
Yes, sir. And, and of course, if we weren't satisfied or we didn't feel like we were getting our money's worth with the features, then we don't have to keep them either. We could just go back to our basic service.
I see. So we could try it, and then I take it that I'm thinking of sort of like the sole vendor, that this Snyder Geospatial, that's who does the Q Public. And so this is sort of like a sole source where we wouldn't be putting it out for bids or whatever.
That's right. Yes, sir.
Okay.
And then, and then one other thing that I would like to mention too is when Mr. McCants and Ms. Higginbotham and I took the assessment administration class back a couple of months ago before the end of the year, there was discussion about the size of the counties and how many employees that they should have. And for a county our size, they said that we needed 3 appraisers, but we needed 2 people in the office staff. And so basically we're all operating this office without, like somebody to answer the telephones. And so we're 2 people short. And so this sort of thing will alleviate some of that burden from the office staff with, and it's not a person that we have to pay a salary, that we have to pay, the county has to pay insurance on. And so I feel like it could be a really good investment for our office to allow our appraisers to actually have the time to do the appraising that they need. The more services that we can offer online, the more it frees up the office staff to do the actual appraisal work that we need to do.
Right. You say it makes the office more efficient and effective, as well as a public, a sort of a customer service.
Yes, sir.
To the property owners, that they can sit at home at their computer and quickly do their business.
Correct.
Okay.
Lauren,
Yes, ma'am.
this had been mentioned to me recently. Is there any way, I looked back through all my paperwork for the formula on that. Do you have it? It's where you could send it to me at some point.
Yes, ma'am. I'll make a note right here.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Lauren, looking at the payment schedule, if we agreed to it, I guess we'd pay the $39.90 right now. That would include the setup and the prorated $750 usage cost for the rest of the year. And then right away, like I guess July 1st or shortly thereafter, we'd be paying the $4,500. So we're talking the $39.90 plus $4,500 within a relatively short period of time. And I guess you say we've got the dollars to accommodate both those?
Yes, sir. If you'll look back to page 9 of the budget, you'll see there under the account 22211, the travel and education, we've got $1,600, $16,000 in that account.
Yes.
Because we have not been to conferences or had to pay any hotel fees or anything this year. And so we've got more than enough to cover that. And then cover the startup cost. And then the other would fall under the next fiscal year, and it would go in our new budget request.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay, well, let's see, Lauren, you've got a recommendation that we approve this agreement that you've got.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's see, could someone want to make a motion to approve this professional services agreement that Lauren's got? You start at page 12 through 16 of our packet.
I move that we.
And I guess that's.
Go ahead.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'll let you make your motion, Omar.
I move that we approve the professional services agreement as shown with Snyder Geospatial as recommended by Lauren.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. So now, of course, Lauren started giving us the preamble to help us understand our item of business. And so let's say, Lauren, I know on your contracts, you run those by the county attorney. Have you had Eddie Davis look at this?
No, sir, I haven't.
I think we probably need to make any I guess maybe our approval contingent on you're going to coordinate with Carol and the county attorney. We just don't want to skip a step there. I guess you were waiting on sharing it with us today for briefing Carol on it, right?
Yes, sir. And Sandra,
Okay.
would that be standard operating procedure to have Eddie review the contract?
It would not hurt to have him look it over and make sure everything is okay. And
Okay.
then just amend the motion to, based on, what follows up.
Okay.
And I was just thinking, I guess, let's see, would I be the one that would sign it where it says client
Yes, sir.
on behalf of the board? So I guess before I sign it, and it was if you just sort of do the behind the scenes
Yes, sir.
legwork on it. So, okay.
Do I need to
All right,
change?
any further discussion?
Do I need to change the motion to include that caveat?
Yes.
Well, I move that we move ahead with the professional services agreement as recommended by Lauren, contingent upon review and approval by our attorney.
Second.
Right, okay. And as I understand, I think our motion today in business, that'll authorize Lauren to proceed with the other county officials, with the county manager and
Right.
county
And it would
attorney,
also
and then,
approve your signature
Yeah.
once that takes place.
right.
Right.
So you'd let me know, and then I'd stop by and sign any the necessary. Okay. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I guess we're ready to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Sandra, I didn't hear anything from you.
Yeah, I said aye. I'm sorry.
Okay, all right, motion passes. Okay, thanks, Lauren. I think this and I appreciate you sharing the idea, we want to look for ways to make the operations more efficient and effective, and and implement new technology when we, have a business case and can justify that it makes sense.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes, thanks for the legwork on it. Okay. All right, let's see. The next item on the agenda is the Freeport application for 2021.
Yes, sir.
The Freeport applications.
And with that being said, I put this item on the agenda because it's time for Freeport applications and it will need to stay on the agenda through the deadline for that. But we have not received any at this point. So at this point, we have not received any Freeport applications and we don't have any to approve.
Okay, so none to report. We'll just move on. So then the next item is homestead applications for 2021.
Yes, sir.
And I see you at page 17, I see you got the list of those that are pending.
Yes, sir. And if you'll notice, I'm recommending approval for all of those with the exception of a Welcome Home LLC that was on the agenda last month. And we are recommending a denial on that application because number one, it's not for an individual, it's for an LLC, and they have not responded to the letter that we sent them last month.
Okay, and if I understand, you're saying because it's an LLC, it does not qualify?
Right, a homestead's for an individual,
Okay.
not a corporation.
All right. So procedurally, do we need to do two motions? Do we need to segregate your recommendations into the ones you got approval and then
I
this
mean,
one
if
for
it
deny?
says approve all with the exception of a Welcome Home LLC, and you know we move to deny that one, I can work with that. However y'all want to do it.
One's good.
Yeah, we just do. If it's okay, we'll just do one to approve the recommendations as presented then.
Yes.
I move that we approve the homestead exemption application list as presented by Lauren with 6 approvals and 1 denial.
Okay.
Second.
Unless, okay, all right. All right, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, motion passes. All right, now we move to the 2021 CUVA and FLIPA table of values.
Yes, sir, and that starts on page 20 of your packet. And these tables of values are sent each year from the Department of Revenue and the Revenue Commissioner. And then they're separated out into sections for each county. And so these values are specified, as I said, by the Department of Revenue, and they were sent to our office on the 5th of March. And so we just need, since this will result in a value change for the exemptions, it needs to be approved by the Board of Assessors.
Okay. All right, let's see, do we need to do each one? Let's see, I see that there's one table that says CUVA and looks like another table for FLIPA.
I mean, you can just make a motion to approve both. As received by the Department of Revenue.
Okay, all right. We have a motion to approve the 2021 CUVA and FLIPA table of values received from the Department of Revenue.
Move that we approve the 2021 FLIPA and CUVA table of values that we received from the Department of Revenue as presented by Lauren.
Sandra said that she seconded, Dan.
Okay.
I said what?
You did say you seconded Mr. McCantz's motion, correct?
I did, yes.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Is there any further, any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes. Okay, and then let's see, the next item is the 2021 owner harvested timber table of values.
Yes,
And
sir.
it looks like
And
that
this,
starts at page 25.
it does, and this was received from the Director of the Department of Revenue on February the 26th. And this just adjusts the price per ton on the different types of timber. and it's based on the average prices received for timber sold during the preceding year. And we have to input those
Now,
into
this is
our
if
value
someone-
bill.
This is for use where someone cuts their own timber, you know, if they have their sawmill or whatever, and harvest their own timber and use it for lumber, you know, their own lumber or whatever.
Yes, they still have to pay timber taxes on it, so this is given the rates for that.
Right, okay. All right, so let's see, let's see, you're recommending that we approve the 2021 owner harvested timber value table received from the Department of Revenue.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
For a motion?
Sandra?
Okay.
Are we ready for the motion?
Yes, sir.
I think so,
I
right?
move that we approve the 2021 owner harvested timber value tables as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, motion passes. Okay. And let's see, then moving on, we got forest land protection applications.
Yes, sir. And those, let's see what page they're on. It's
Looks like on page 18.
continuation, and it's on page 18. And this is just a continuation from a sale.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve the flipper application recommendations as presented by Lauren?
I move that we approve the flipper exemption application as presented by Lauren.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, motion passes. All right, thanks. And then let's see, the next is the conservation use exemption applications. And let's see, looks like we've got a right lengthy list on page 19. And let's see, it looks like they're all recommended approved.
Yes, sir. We have a few continuations based on sales, and then we have several renewals that also have a release because we have to release the old covenant for the renewal. So I'm recommending approval on all of those. And site visits have been done on all of these as well.
Okay, all right. So let's see, you're recommending approval. So do we have a motion to approve the CUVA exemption applications as recommended and presented by Lauren?
I move that we approve the Hoover exemption applications as represented and presented by Lauren.
A second. I have a question. Should the releases be included in that motion?
We did include them together last time. Sometimes we separate them, sometimes we do it all at once.
Okay.
Mr. McCants, do you want to amend the motion to include the releases?
I can.
Okay.
I move that we approve the Hoover exemption applications to include the releases as recommended by Lauren.
Second.
Did I get it?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, the motion passes. Okay, and let's see, next is the, Lauren, is your update, your chief appraiser update.
Yes, sir. As I was telling you briefly earlier, we have the tax commissioner's office has given Mr. Ronnie Hendricks the keys there and moved everything out of the area where the clerk used to be. And we have set up a workstation in there to help customers as necessary in preparation for the assessment notices going out. So we will be using the window as well as that office to serve customers. And that's one of the things that I wanted to update you on. And then
Does that mean there's a tax commissioner not coming back? Is that the?
We don't know whether they're coming back, and there is no answer as to when they will be coming back. And so the furniture, they left their furniture in there. Well, the desk, we had to get a chair and a mat and extension cords, surge protectors, that sort of thing. But the desk was left in there. And so we have put a table and some chairs and a computer. And we just don't have any answer. I don't have any answer on when or if they are coming back to the building.
Now, the room you're talking about, is that the one to the right as you go in the front door?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that's the one that was the old conference room.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And so then the other thing is we did receive a budget request for the upcoming fiscal year from the county manager, and it's due April the 5th. I have been working through that, through our accounts, making updates and changes to the proposed budget to get it ready to present to you guys once I've had time to go over everything. And I think Dan has offered to come into the office one day soon and work through that with me so that we'll have it ready to present to you guys. There any more discussion about that?
So then we'll need to have another meeting, even if it's, even if, I guess, let's see, even if we do just a call meeting for the budget, we'll need to approve that before the deadline of April 5th, that it has to be, to the county manager to meet her schedule.
Yes, sir. That's on a Monday. I mean, it would be really nice if we could have a meeting to approve all the homesteads and conservation and everything that came in at the last minute and discuss the budget. But unless Carol was willing to give us an extra day or two, I don't think we'll be able to include those both in the same meeting, because we'd be having to wait on the mail to come in and that sort of thing from the 1st. And with the 5th being a Monday, I think to be able to do that, it would have to be the 7th. So we'll probably have to have 2 meetings right around the 1st of April or the end of March.
Okay.
Lauren, Lauren, I
Yes,
think
ma'am.
that Carol would have a problem with giving you an extension of just a few days.
Okay. Well, I mean, if that, those would be two things that we could handle pretty quickly. If I had the budget prepared, you know, we could handle the conservation flippas and homesteads and the budget probably in less than an hour, I would think. If everything was ready to go at the day of the meeting. That's up to y'all. I'll do whatever y'all want me to do.
Well, I was going to share that too. I like to keep our meetings, you know, within 2 hours to probably no more than an hour and a half when we can. That's why I hate to put too much on the agenda, and particularly things that we might have a lengthy discussion about.
I mean, we would still have our regular monthly meeting probably later in the month, like the 21st or something like that, like we have been doing. But this would just allow us to be able to act on the homesteads, the conservation, and the FLIPA that we need to get filed in preparation of sending the assessment notices. So,
It
I
will
mean,
be a
So what I'm
call.
hearing you say is you want to wait, that the April 1st deadline is approaching, and so you want us to meet fairly soon after the deadline so we can approve the ones that have come in that are ready to recommend for approval.
yes, sir. And so maybe the 7th,
Okay.
and if I can get approval from Carol to submit the budget the afternoon of the 7th, maybe we could have the meeting the morning of the 7th and act on everything that's pending as far as the homesteads, the conservation FLIPA, and then approve the budget submission.
Okay. Looks like I'm available that morning, that Wednesday. How does that sound with everyone for our next meeting?
Wednesday, the 7th at 10
Wednesday.
o'clock.
The 7th, and it would be a call meeting, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm good.
Wednesday, the 7th
Okay.
at 10.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay,
all
and
right. So
that'll just
we'll
be hinging on Carol allowing us to move the budget submission until the 7th. And so I'll send her an email about that and let you guys know, hopefully this afternoon.
Yeah, you can just let her know we met today, and that'll be our next meeting. Remind me of the county, your holiday. Do y'all get the Good Friday? Are there any holidays coming up?
Yes, sir.
within the
We're
next-
off that day.
So y'all are off Friday the 2nd, okay?
So we're still gonna need to have the meeting in late April.
Yes, sir. Just to approve any other business that's cropped up and in the mailing of the assessment notices. Approving the digest, that sort of thing.
Mhm. You mentioned the 21st earlier.
That would work for me.
That would work.
Good.
That works for me.
Say April 21st at 10 a.m.
Yes, sir.
Looks like that'll work. We'll make that tentative. We're gonna call that our regular April meeting.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
And then the other thing I would needed to kind of give you an update on, and I've got a request for the board, is as you all know, we have changed to a new garbage service in Talbot County. And that change has brought on a lot of data entry work for our office. And given with it being time for CUVA applications, homestead applications, FLIPA applications, us trying to work us the permits and all of the things that are pending for our office and the schedule updates, we have been hard pressed to fit that all these changes that need to be made for the garbage service into a working day, since this is not appraisal business. And when the garbage was first regulated to our office to administrate for data entry and to the tax commissioner's office to collect on, there was a supplement set aside for that. But all of that supplement went to the tax commissioner's office for collection, and our office was never paid for any of the legwork that was done on getting everything prepared for the billing. And I mentioned that to the commissioners and the county manager, and I was told to approach you guys for an overtime request for us to get the necessary data entry done in time for them to go out, for it all to go out on the assessment notices for this year. And
let me ask you this, brief us quickly, Lauren. I know the old vendor, seems like there was that sort of the one time on our tax bill, a garbage fee of $134.40. What is our change with the new vendor? What's give us a 30,000 foot deal? What's going on?
Well, the price is changing. That's one thing. And so on top of seeing the schedule rate increases on their assessment notices this year, they're also going to see an increase in their garbage rate on their assessment notices this year. And that's always
Did the county, if the commissioners ever decided that last you told me they were still discussing
yes, sir,
a new rate, but nothing
decided on a rate increase for this year, and then it will increase more for next year. And as I was trying to say, it's very concerning to me that that garbage fee is on the tax bill, specifically the assessment notice, because it gives people the idea that they can appeal. And you know, and then they don't want the garbage. They want to appeal that, but they can't appeal the garbage fee, so they end up appealing their assessment, even though their issue is with the garbage fee. And so it kind of really muddies the waters on their assessment appeal with the garbage being included. But I did check with the Department of Revenue, and any fees must be included on the assessment notice, even if they are not part of their tax value. So
keeping the garbage, what you're saying is other counties, and it is common to have fees included in the tax bill.
I wouldn't say that it's common. It's very, it's not common at all. Probably out of all of the counties in Georgia, from what I understand, there are less than 5 that include fees on their garbage bill. Because it is such a murky area that most tax chief appraisers, the Board of Tax Assessors, vehemently protest anything of this nature being added to the assessments.
But I think the assessment, doesn't it have garbage, a line that says garbage or garbage fee?
It does, but regardless of how it's marked out, people don't understand. If there is no garbage fee, it still says garbage fee. If you follow it across, there's a 0. But when people look at it, they see garbage fee. They never follow it across to see if it's in part of their total. So we are constantly, you know, fielding phone calls about garbage fees, and then people are upset about increase or the cost of the garbage or how much they're using it, or the fact that they got skipped for garbage service for one day, you know, for 1 week. And it's just an ongoing issue.
But I think all 3 of us are familiar with the way what's been done in the past. I mean, I was looking at my bills the other day, working on my income tax, and I I was deducting that from a property tax, didn't count that as a property tax payment, but just a fee. So now, what is the change this year? What you say they finally decided on what is the new rate?
Hold on just a second. I want to say $165, but I've got to just look and be sure. Hold on. $162, and next year it'll be 180 something.
Okay. So now, just briefly, what's involved? You say all the work that your staff has to do. Do y'all have to open each account and make the change individually?
Yes, sir. Hold on just a second and let me show you. And everything that I'm getting ready to put on the screen is public information, so that there's no security issue there with that. So give me just a minute to get this. Okay, so can y'all see that that screen there?
Yes.
Okay, so each account has to be opened, and then inside of each account, the only place that we have to put fees is right here in this accessory improvement screen. And so then here you can see that it says garbage fee. And then in this drop down, we have garbage fee, and then garbage fee non-vacant and garbage fee non-private billing. And that private billing means that a bill is being sent. Previously, it was by Dependable Waste. I believe that Carol is now having to send out those individual bills. And then I believe the city of Geneva collects theirs separately also. And then if the property is vacant, it's coded here. And then if there is a garbage fee, it's coded there. With that being said, we are having to open there's been a list, or there's continuous calls coming in where the people have requested garbage service, but previously they weren't being billed for garbage service. We're having to make changes for the exempt properties that are receiving garbage service, because there was no garbage service on the exempt properties. And then they have decided that if you have more than one can, there is a garbage fee at one rate and then a reduced rate for a second can, which I have not even tackled that issue yet, because it's going to involve an immense amount of coding. And so there will be a garbage fee and then a garbage fee reduced for the price of the second can. But then we have the issue, for instance, I'm going to pull up another one. And this is my grandparents' account, and I'm just pulling it up for an example because I know specifically about this account. On this account, there are 3 improvements. There are 2 garbage cans because one of the improvements is vacant. However, but this is an instance where the garbage cans would both be flat rate garbage because they're at the end of different driveways. So I can't just do a query looking for multiple garbage charges and then reduce the second one automatically, because it would not be appropriate for accounts such as this one, because you're not getting a discount if you have garbage cans at the end of separate driveways. You're only getting the discount if you have multiple garbage cans at the end of one driveway. And so all of that has got to be worked out in the coding, and it's a huge diversion from assessments for our office.
Well, and that's what concerns me a little bit, is right now, y'all are in the busy time of the year with the April deadline and then the May notice of assessment. And it was y'all and doing the site visits. And it was that's our primary task is the property appraisal. What do you estimate's involved in all this work with these garbage
Dan,
fees?
I don't know. Because this is so in depth with this reduced rate second can. Then, we've got a stack of changes that need to be made. And when I talked to the county commissioners about it, they were like, well, Jamie's office the tax commissioner's office has always been the office that received the supplement because they're the ones that are receiving the payments. And there's never been a supplement given to the tax assessor's office. And I tried to explain to them that Jamie's office would not be able to accept the payments if we weren't doing the coding. And, and so at that point is when we talked about requesting the overtime. And I can't even at this point begin to estimate, if it's going to take us 20 hours, 40 hours, what, I don't know. But the best solution I could come up with
Have you talked to your staff?
Outside of office hours.
Have you talked to your staff? I was going to ask you, have you talked to is your staff going to be are they willing to work?
Yes, sir.
Long days or Saturdays?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay, so you're just needing us to authorize the overtime.
Right.
To get it done.
Right.
That's what you're recommending then?
Yes, sir. The only other option at this point is for the Board of Assessors to say, we're not having garbage fees on our assessment notices and the tax assessor's office is not going to administrate this, and then they would have to come up with another option. But I don't feel like that's necessarily the right thing to do either, because for this particular year, it's got to get collected, and this is the way that they're planning on doing it. So,
well, that's what I'm thinking is we don't want to throw a monkey wrench at this late hour. It does sound like something that we as a board need to review with you, and it may be in our budget workshop. We want to discuss, whether it requires a part-time position or just what. But it sounds like at this late hour, the thing to do is just cooperate. Now, when you say you have a stack, does the county manager send you the paperwork to put in the system, or what's going on there?
That comes from the tax commissioner's office.
Okay. So it's a matter of the input.
Yes, sir. And then the lady from the new garbage service is sending spreadsheets for the accounts that are getting multiple, the accounts that are private billing, that sort of thing.
Okay, so it sounds like they're having a lot of what I call it straightening up. I know on my street, yes, they skipped us, and we had to do a lot of calling and complaining to get the new vendor straightened out. But have you given any thought? I know that we had Curtis. I know you used him probably a year or two ago when you.
Honestly, Dan,
I know you've used him from time.
It would be, the system is, while it's user friendly, there's a learning curve, and I don't have time to teach somebody, and nobody in the office has time to teach somebody the proper coding techniques needed to make these changes. And then if it gets coded wrong, it goes out wrong on assessment notices, and then we're going to have more error releases, which I'm expecting quite a few error releases as it is, just to clean up once they get sent. So, and then I feel like once it gets done, the maintenance will be minimal, but right now it's just overwhelming. You know, previously
Okay.
it's been 1 or 2 changes a week. But with this huge influx from the change, you know, right now it's a lot. So I don't think that there's a need for a part-time person specifically for garbage. Now, you know, I mean, if we were to discuss adding a clerk or something to answer telephones, to do filing, to, you know, do office orders and do, you know, stuff like that, that would be totally different thing. But as far as this garbage service goes, I just feel like that this should be something that the people that are familiar with the program do, but not during regular office hours to take away from our assessments and appraisals that we need to be working on.
Right. Well, I was thinking about too, like a Saturday or even the holiday coming up, you know, the office could be closed for business, but y'all could hunker down and be working on this task.
And I was thinking more like, you know, Quentin has said that he would be willing to come in a little earlier every morning, and Janet said that she may be willing to stay an hour later, you know, and just I think we've got enough time between now and the end of April to get it done if we dedicate an hour or 30 minutes or a day to the project.
Right, right. And what you're talking about is any time over 40 hours in a week would be overtime per the Federal Fair Labor Standards Act.
Yes, sir.
In other words, that both of your employees are covered employees. How does it work with you as a manager? Do you get comp time or do you get?
No, sir.
I mean, I know you're like exempt as far as I guess probably because you're a supervisor. I know the Federal Fair Labor Standards, I think you're an exempt employee.
Yes, sir.
Rather than covered. And so, okay. And if I'm understanding, this is more FYI for us on what's going on and just, I mean, I don't think there's any action we need to do.
I need an action to request the overtime. The Board of Assessors needs to request the overtime.
Oh, so it has to be a formal request to the county manager?
Yes, that's my understanding.
Yes.
Okay.
And that'll be for specify.
And Jack, do you have an estimated budget? How do you do that? How many hours?
Sandra?
Pardon? Say that again, Dan.
Do I need to specify, do we need to specify a number of hours or just until the project is completed?
I think you need to do an estimate. I mean, if you got to send something, if you got to send a formal request, I think it needs to be, it'd be like an estimate. If it exceeds it, it exceeds it. But I think you need to start with some kind of, do you have an idea how many hours you think it's going to take?
Dan, I honestly know. I don't have an idea of how many hours it's going to take because I don't know how many accounts they're going to have that are going to require this multiples and it's just a lot just thrown on at the last minute.
Lauren,
yes, ma'am.
are you going to have on the budget? Are we going to have any overage that you think that could be used for this year, this fiscal year?
I think that there may be some over, and you're talking about in the salaries budget, right?
Yeah, or expenses, because that could be put up into the salary.
I mean, there will be some in salaries, I think, because of the amount, the per diem that was given to the Board of Assessors for conferences. It all hasn't been used up. And then, I mean, and we've got, like I said earlier, we've got lots of extra money in our travel budget and the expenses that could be moved if necessary.
Yeah, because budget amendments could be made if you've got if we're anticipating an overage, and we could get by for this fiscal year and then make a proposal for in our new budget to do something different next time.
Mhm.
Just a thought.
Yeah, that sounds like a idea. Like I said, I think we need to revisit, this whole process by the county for the collection of the garbage fee at some point. But I know I just hate to. I concur with Lauren at this late hour this year. Sound like we just need to get the data input in the system. So, so I tell you what, I guess we need a motion maybe to authorize Lauren to submit an overtime request. And then Lauren, you can work on an estimate and put that together, and maybe you and I can look at it quickly before you shoot that on over to Carol.
Okay, and you're saying an estimate, and if it exceeds it, it exceeds it, because basically the work's got to get done regardless.
Right, that's the way I see it too, but you want to, they need to know what an idea of what they're,
Okay, so let's say if Janet and Quentin both worked an extra hour a day maximum and so that would be, they would each have an extra 5 hours a week. So that's 10 hours a week. And for 4 weeks, that's 40 hours. How about that?
Yeah, we think that's reasonable. That's fine. And then, okay, let's see. And so you want a motion, let's see, do we have a motion to approve an overtime request to the county manager for doing the updates to the garbage rates and information?
For 40 hours then?
I think we'll leave that open to you to put in. You can scratch your head on that. But that sounds reasonable.
I move that we authorize Lauren to submit a budget request for overtime for added work, for the work required on the garbage collection effort to be used between now and when that job is completed, probably in April.
I second, and then I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we have a motion. All right. Go ahead, Sandra.
Yeah, when you do that, Lauren, are you going to ask for a additional amendment to increase your salaries, or are you going to try to use the overage that we have in salaries?
I guess based on what you said earlier, I'll ask them to try to, if they're to use any overage that there is, and then move the necessary funds from expenses to salaries if necessary. You said that was doable, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, salaries is a separate thing, but it's also an expense. So you can do budget amendments to correct that.
Okay.
That was all.
Okay. Is there any further questions or discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all right, motion passes. Let's see, Lauren, anything else in your monthly update, or does that cover?
No, sir.
Okay, then moving on to member matters. Omar, do you have anything this month?
No, I don't.
Sandra, do you have anything? Or
No, I just was wondering if we, on the anything we had to sign with stacking up? Do we need to get some stuff signed, Lauren?
Dan has done all the signing for, the exemptions and the error releases, but I do have several, stacks of minutes that need your and Mr. McCant's signature. We do have a table if and when y'all were comfortable to come in and maybe spend 10 or 15 minutes signing those. We've got a table in the kitchen that's separate that y'all wouldn't have to be in immediate contact with anybody if you were comfortable coming into the office and doing that.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it, or we can work it out the way we've been doing.
Okay.
You and I, yeah.
Shall we
Okay, let's
call?
see, the only thing I had this,
Hold on, Dan. Mr. McCants was saying
I
something.
was asking if we should call individually for that.
I mean, we're here from 8 to 4:30 every day, and we don't close for lunch. So if you're in Talbot, feel free to swing by and sign. I don't think it'll take any more than 10 or 15 minutes because it's just minutes packets for you guys that need signatures.
Okay.
yeah, I was gonna add, I spent a couple of hours there the other afternoon and caught up, a good bit of the signing that was from recent months. And then I was gonna remind everyone I've got a class next week on the digest review, a 20-hour class. That'll be a virtual class. So, and Lauren, I thank you for getting me that training materials.
Okay, and you did notice that there were some tabs in there because there's a PowerPoint presentation, and then there were a couple of pieces of the material that were separated into individual files, so I flagged those individually so you could tab to them.
Okay, great, thanks. That's a big help.
Yes, sir.
And then let's say we mentioned a few minutes ago that we'll have a call meeting tentative for April 7th, that Wednesday at 10 a.m. With the primary purpose of reviewing the budget. And then we'll also approve any homesteads and CUBA flip applications that come in next 2 weeks. And then we'll have our regular April meeting tentative for April 21st, that Wednesday at 10 a.m. And let's see, does anyone have anything else this morning? Or Lauren, you have anything
I
else?
got one other thing.
Okay.
The timesheets for this month, I was trying to come up with okay, they're due the 20th. So I will submit y'all's first quarter 2021 that day. And with that being, no, excuse me, they're due the 22nd. So with that being said, Sandra or Mr. McCants, if you're going to come and sign paperwork, that will be an additional $50 for this quarter. So if you're going to do it before the end of the month, I need to include that in the submission for your quarter reimbursement.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'll do that before the end of the month, sir.
Okay, so you're saying you got them due. That's March 22nd will be when you turn it in.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see if there's no other business this morning. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn.
Second,
And
All
I've
right,
got
let's see, it's
11:33
11:34.
a.m.
11:33.